Welcome to the Winning Move podcast. I'm your host, Stratton Brown. We have an awesome guest on today, my friend Xavier Major. How you doing, bro?
I'm doing well. Happy to be here, man.
Awesome. Before we start, guys, please share, like, all that good stuff with your friends so more people can find out about both of what we do, Xavier, his company, all that other good stuff. But let's start off, bro. Where did you grow up? I know you the other day.
Yeah. So I grew up a little bit of everywhere. Like this is probably my most told story, like networking and meeting people. So my mom was in the Air Force. I was born on a military base. I moved around quite a bit. Like I was born in Abilene, Texas. We moved to San Antonio, DC for 4 years, and then Japan for 7.5. I came back to the States and visited while we were there, but I ended up getting a football scholarship. Went to Pennsylvania, played there for a year, and then Germany, and then somehow wound up in Arizona. So a little bit of everywhere.
Oh, shit. I didn't know you played football, bro. What position did you play?
So all through high school, I played pretty much every position because in Japan it was just on the Air Force Base. So we had like I would say 30 people on the team. So like my junior year, I was my main position was safety, but I also played receiver. I was kick returner, punt returner. I was the holder. So I was literally never off the field. We only played like 7 games, so it was just like a sprint. And like my recruiting tape was dope because I played every position. So like I put together a dope recruiting tape and got a scholarship to play at St. Francis in Pennsylvania. But I got recruited to play safety. I got there, I was like $1.95, and they're like, "You need to eat, dude. Like we're going against the big boys, like it's D1 AA." So it was like a different league for me to play in. So like I got there and they're like, "Yeah, just play corner. We'll fill you out there." And then I ended up just staying at corner. So
okay, bro. I got to college weighing 165 pounds at Fresno State.
I thought I was tiny at like 185, dude. Like
Bro, I was slim. I got there like 165, and then my senior year, bro, I was 17th in the country, and I only weighed in tackles. I only weighed 195 pounds.
Jeez.
But I couldn't gain any weight.
Dude, it's still a struggle. Like people are like, how can you eat whatever you want? I was like, I just have this metabolism. Like I can eat all day long and I won't gain weight. But I got this Whoop tracker and I started like tracking my calories and stuff, like just to see like what it was like. But like an average day, I'm burning like 3,300 calories, but I only eat once, maybe twice a day. So like,
what are you doing for exercise, bro? I gain weight fast now. I just started 75 hard again because
I play basketball 3 days a week. That's like 2,300 calories. Like we play from 5 to 7. Steve Trang's a baller. He comes and plays in the morning.
Steve comes and shoots threes, bro. Don't lie. Steve
yes,
just
he
comes
does.
and shoots threes.
He also plays defense though. He knows how to stop my Euro step. It's pretty funny. Like he gets right in the way. Like you don't have to be super athletic to play defense. It's all about angles, right? So lots of basketball, gym 5 days a week. I love Saturday workouts, and then I have 4 kids, so just running around chasing them burns a lot of calories all day.
So, dude, how old are you?
28.
When did you start having kids?
I had my first at 20, and then every 2 years since then. So like I'm on this perpetual loop of always changing diapers.
Oh
like,
my god, bro! I don't know how you guys do
diapers at Costco. It's ridiculous.
How many kids do you want?
I only wanted 2. We have 4 and my wife's pregnant right now. So our next trip to the doctors is going to be a surgery, get that problem fixed.
And so then you went to Germany. Did you play just in the overseas league over there?
So in Germany, actually, that's where I started playing basketball more. Like it's cold, and like I knew a guy that I trained with here in Scottsdale. He played on the Germany national football team that they had over there. I thought he was talking about soccer, but they have like a football team there. No, but I started playing basketball more often. So I played with like some guys that play in the Euro League in Germany, and I didn't play any pro games, but I went and practiced with them. I was on the practice squad for a little bit, but I was like 18 or 19 at the time. So again, I still wasn't very big, and I played basketball quite a bit, but I wasn't as good as I am now at it. So I was basically a defensive cone. Like I was just out there for runs.
Bro, you sound like the exact same athlete as me. I only hoop 2 times a week though, and I played some high school basketball.
Yeah, I mean, I played high school basketball junior year, senior year. I loved it. I just wasn't very good. Like until freshman year of high school, I was 5'2". The following season, so like my sophomore year, I went from like 5'2" to like 5'9". And then finally, like end of sophomore year, I was like 6 foot, but I was like uncoordinated. I didn't know how to use my height, and I was used to being a short guy, so I didn't use any of that extra height, and I was like lanky. I didn't gain any weight. And I had a trainer told me, he's like, dude, if you want to be good at sports, like you need to put on some weight. So I literally like punished peanut butter sandwiches because he's like, you just need protein, like fill it up. And this is like, early 2000s. So like there wasn't a ton of research and all this. So I was like, yeah, give me all the protein I can. So protein powders, meal replacements, peanut butter sandwiches, like all I could. And I got to 185. That was about my peak. Like I'm 205 now, but like that's just because now I know what I'm doing and there's better supplements and stuff. So
how big of a role has sports played in your business success?
A ton, because I'm super competitive. Like it's not like how you play like against some guys that are like ultra competitive about everything, and it's kind of annoying. Like mine is that quiet, like almost Kobe like competitiveness. Like I want to destroy people, but I'm not going to be like bragging and all in your face about it. And I'm a builder, so like I like today we were working through a business problem. Like we need to hire more people to close sales, but I wanted to make sure that we did it profitably. So I literally like canceled 2 calls that I had on my calendar, and I was just there like working out the numbers on a spreadsheet because I had to figure it out. Like that drive, like I got that from sports. Like I missed a shot in a game and I'd go and practice it 100 times. Or like in football, like I missed a tackle because I took the wrong angle, or I didn't know where someone was supposed to be and I was in the wrong place, and I just watched film on it over and over. So I get like obsessive on certain things, but it's like things that help me move a little bit forward, and that's 100% from sports.
What on, bro? I love it. Were you ever actively investing in real estate?
Nope. No, I didn't know anything about real estate investing until probably about 3.5, 4 years ago.
Okay.
We were doing like funnels for coaches and consultants. So like we were running Facebook ads and stuff like that. And the way that we got introduced into real estate is we had a couple of clients that were real estate coaches. Like they were doing training programs and mentorship and stuff like that. And their funnels were crushing it. We were like, bro, like we've been doing this for people. Like our average CPL was like $12 to $16, and then we started running real estate and it was like $2 to $4, and we're like, what the crap is going on? So we started diving deeper into it, like figuring out like, okay, what's real estate investing, what's wholesaling, what's all this stuff, like what's flipping. So once we got into it, we like obviously being here in Phoenix, like we started meeting people that were coaches here, and then we started meeting other investors, and then we met Brandon Simmons, who invited us out to his Go Giver Mastermind with a bunch of guys here locally, and starting to talk to some of them, just kind of figure out like what was going on. And we were like, there's an angle for us here, because like we know marketing really well, and a lot of the investors we were working with had no idea about marketing. Like their thing with marketing was like, I sent out 20,000 postcards, and I was like, that is a waste of money, because I've come from that space, like where I was when I was selling door to door, like I did postcards for solar sales, and I just knew what the returns are, and I was like, it can't be much better for someone wanting to sell their house. Like, so I came in with a different angle, and that's kind of how we established the business that we have now.
Bro, so what got you into marketing? Because I joined the Powerhouse Mastermind, right? Because I knew nothing about marketing, right? We own a call center, and we do text messaging, SMS, postcards, but it's not marketing. Now I'm like going down the Dead Kennedy, Alex Hormozy, Russell Brunson, all of the like real marketers learning how to copywrite.
Yeah, so I started marketing, I think it was when I moved back here in Arizona, like 2012. My uncle, he owns a staffing software company, and I came and worked with him while I was going to community college at the time, finishing my degree. And he basically gave me a book on constant contact and told me to figure out how to get more people to buy his software. And it's an expensive software. Like it's not like, he's selling, it's a subscription. Like staffing software is like 40, 50 grand, plus he charges 20 grand to come out and do build outs and set up all the systems and your printers and all this stuff. So it was like pretty high ticket stuff. And like we had, he'd go to trade shows, and we had, hundreds of emails, but we couldn't figure out how to turn that into money. So then I started just booking us for trade shows, taking those emails, and then just dripping people videos and like how to make their business more efficient. And then that just led me down a rabbit hole of like learning about copywriting and email marketing, and then running advertising. And from there, like you just get sucked in. Obviously, like you get sucked in that vortex of marketing. It's like, oh, but this guy and this guy. Then you start reading like old guys from the ad days where they're writing campaigns in newspapers and magazines, and you're like, the oracles of marketing. And then you start looking at new age stuff and putting it all together. And it's super fun because, again, me being competitive, like from sports, like I just wanted to figure it out. And like, this is a way for me to make an impact on business. Cause I saw, how it helped my uncle's company out. And I saw like what the impact was that, for other people when I started doing like little freelance gigs. And I was like, yeah, this is definitely what I want to do. So
what's going on, Dino? Dean's one of my business partners. He played for the Chargers, and then he goes and hoops all the time.
Pickup game. Let's do it.
We'll go down to Arizona, Dino, and hoop with these two.
We have a dude that actually, he brings his GoPro whenever he comes and he records it. And I try to always get at least 1 or 2 dunks on the GoPro. Because my wife doesn't think I can dunk anymore. She's like, you're too old. Like you're not dunking. Because like I play super early in the morning, or if I play like in leagues, it's late at night. So like she's at home with the kids and she doesn't get to see me play. So I always send her those highlights. Like I can still do
it. Can you like tomahawk, bro? I can jump so high. I just don't dunk very well.
Yeah. So that was my issue for the longest. Like I can jump pretty high, but I wasn't coordinated enough to dunk. So like again, being, obsessive about it, I went to like Mountainside Fitness and I would just like dunk for hours, like just work on different dunks. So now it's like my go-to. Like if I have an open lane, like you're getting dunked on.
Oh shit. Okay. All right. I'm coming down. I'm gonna come down and hoop with you guys. Me and Dean will come down. Bro, so you learned just about marketing. Did you start writing the copy for the emails? Because like I'm getting new into this now. I can write an email decently. I'll make some money for one of our companies. But now I think marketing is what makes all businesses truly scalable. I don't think a lot of companies that people are in real estate wise, like it's not scalable compared to what you can do with a different type of product and actually scale it with different types of marketing.
Yeah. So yeah, copywriting is like the basis of all marketing. And really for me, what I learned, like my shortcut for copywriting was like doing surveys. So I do surveys, and like when we started our current company, I actually had a VA go through like a bunch of like big real estate Facebook groups and write down like on these big threads where people were asking questions like about what problems they had and what struggles they had, or, what things made successful investors. Like I still have it. I had her write down all of the comments, and that's like what I still use to this day as like a swipe file for copy. Because it was basically like one of the posts I remember was, what are like the top 3 things that make a successful investor? And our first angle for our ads was consistency. Like that was the number one thing that came up every single time, was like consistency, like consistently doing marketing, consistently sending out offers, consistently doing deals. So we put that in our ad angles, and that literally took us from, having, 1 or 2 clients a month to like we were doing 15, 20 clients a week because of that angle.
Bro, that's insane. And so you did that. What type of copy were you doing? Like, so you went from your uncles, and then what did you do? Did you go straight into real estate? Like, what did that look like?
No, so I bounced around in jobs because I knew that I wanted to run a business, because I saw the lifestyle. Like I lived with my uncle for a year. He's owned a business since he separated from the Marines. And I knew the lifestyle that he had is what I wanted. Like he would, some days, like we would go hang out, we'd go shooting, we'd go, go out to eat, and we would just chill all day. And then there were some days like we were in the office, we were super busy and slammed. And then, like we had weeks and weeks and weeks of that, but like it was good stuff. Like we were, grinding, building out systems, building stuff that was, going to pay us, long term. So from there, like I knew business is where I wanted to be. So I found jobs that helped me build on that skill set. And then there was obviously like some odd jobs. Like, we had, like I said, we had our first kid at 20. So like some jobs were just out of necessity. Like I was freelancing, doing Infusionsoft projects. So I was building like crazy automation, doing funnel copywriting, stuff like that for people. Because I worked at Infusionsoft, and then I got let go. And then I had a mentor tell me like, dude, you already have all these skills. Like Infusionsoft is billing you out at like $300 an hour to do this already. Charge $150 and go find clients doing that same thing. So I was doing that, but the only problem is like I was making, $5-6 grand a month, which is great, when you're first newlywed, but like insurance just came around at the time with Obamacare. It was stupid expensive. So and then we started having more kids. So I was like, dude, I need some insurance. So went and got a job, but I was still always freelancing on the side. And I never really had a business that, where I focused 100% on, what were the outcomes could I solve? What was the value that I was providing? It was like I was just a technician, essentially, is the way I think about it. Like, I can fix this problem. I can build this system, or I can do this. So it always remained as just a side gig until I like finally figured out like how to put a valuable offer together that has longevity, that can solve problems for multiple people, and doing it kind of reverse engineering of looking like what's the outcome, who are the people that get value from this, and then serving that audience. So yeah, email copywriting led me into freelancing. I freelanced probably for 3 or 4 years, while I was working, odd end jobs. And then I got hired as a director of marketing at a company because I basically rebuilt their entire website with new copy, new funnel automations, and they basically got rid of their entire marketing team. So they're like, you got the job. So I came in, hired people, made 25 million bucks for the company, asked for a raise, and they told me no. And I was like, all right, I'm out of here. So that's how I got into the company I'm in right now with my partner. It was about 3.5 years ago that happened. They were like, I literally came in with no marketing team, no sales collateral, no email, no marketing, no nothing. Made $25 million for the company my first year. I think our quota, they wanted to say it was like 32 million. So we fell a little bit short, but it was just me and I had one assistant. And then by the time I left, we had 3 people on the team. We were always hitting our numbers. And I asked for a raise, and they straight up told me no. And I was like, I can't do it. I'm out of here. So that was when I was like, I'm done. Like, not going back and getting a job, not for insurance reasons, not for nothing. Like, just gonna make enough money and I'll figure it out.
So what would you say the switch was that showed you truly how to come up with a good offer? Because I need to get better at this. That's the one thing I'm lacking. We have one company where I know what I want to do, but I need to come up with such a good offer.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing for me was actually getting immersed in the audience that I knew I could serve. So like working with real estate investors, like going to meetups, meeting people in person, hearing their story, hearing like what their struggles are and what challenges they were facing. That was the biggest thing for me, because now I was collecting all this data to figure out like, okay, there's a common theme here with the audience that I want to serve. And really the hard part for me was like figuring out what that audience was, because for the longest it was like, okay, well, I work with people that use Infusionsoft, and that was my niche. But Infusionsoft is actively trying to make the software easier. So like there's less and less need for me there.
For you.
So finding a niche that was big enough, that there's an audience I can serve, but that had enough of a pain point. They were making enough money to actually pay for a valuable service and actually understanding what those pain points are. When you piece all those together, like it really was just kind of taking all of those problems and figuring out how we can strategically solve them. And it was an iteration. Like when we first started our company, like we helped, build systems and operations and run marketing campaigns for investors. Like our first system was like, we set up a text message campaign, your leads go to a spreadsheet, and that's all we did. We charged like $3 or $4 grand for it. And then we were like, okay, well, that's not enough. Like other people can do text message marketing and set up a spreadsheet. So then we built a little CRM to manage it. And then we started hiring VAs to go on top of it. Then we started figuring out, about data and skip tracing and how to make the text campaigns better. And all of these little, things that you learn along the way by testing and iterating. So now we have an offer that is super powerful, and it helps people get results, which is the biggest thing. Like we just got in the weeds and we were helping people actually get results, and word of mouth spread it before we started spending money on advertising. So for like most of our companies, the first year was all word of mouth. We barely spent any money on ads. It was all organic. And that's when we knew we had something that clicked, because we were like, okay, now if we turn ads on, we know we get people results. We know the value that we have. So now we're just raising our prices, running ads, enrolling clients, and duplicating over and over.
And Dallon's your partner, right?
Yeah.
And did you guys own Slingshot?
So we built it. We built it off of a white label, essentially. So
you built it off of Roar.
Mm-hmm, yep. Yeah. So we knew it was like a service that all of our clients are using. So we're like, hey, we need something to put together, to utilize for our clients. And instead of sending it to somewhere where we knew they were going to have issues with compliance, we knew they were going to have issues with messages that we wanted to send. And then also too, like we knew that there was going to be deliverability issues. We're like, why don't we just try to control as many of those variables for clients as we can and solve that problem by just putting together the service.
So what did that white label agreement look like? Like if someone wanted to set up a white label, anybody who's listening to this who's a guru, you should strongly consider white labeling something or having your own service-based business?
Yeah. So what we looked at was the difference between what it was going to cost us to build our own platform and the access we needed to get the same, type of service that they had. And it was just going to be way too much. So we ended up we just had to pay a monthly, white label fee, like most white labels. Plus we had to put together all of our own operations. So for client support and management, how we were going to do lead gen, how we were going to do pricing, like they basically just give you the tools and like, okay, here you have access to it. But like everything else we had to put together. So like the raw software stuff is going to cost you, 20 to 50 grand to build right. And then plus we didn't have connections with, cell carriers and stuff like that they have.
Yeah.
So utilizing that was a big step up because now we were able to just shortcut into something that was already working and develop it in a way that, benefited our clients more.
And so are you more of the visionary or the integrator? Because I know Dallin loves sales.
It's kind of mixed. Like I have visionary tendencies, but I'm definitely more of an integrator. Like I think that's why we work so well together. And I've been able to work with a lot of entrepreneurs, like when I was building out systems, because I was able to see the visionary pieces, like where they wanted to go and understand it. And actually go and build it. A lot of people don't have that skill set. They're either one or the other. Like I'm just a builder and like I need someone to give me, what are my variables? What do I need to build? But I'm able to see both sides. So that way I can take it and be like, well, I get what you were trying to do, but that's going to lead us to the wrong point. So let me change your vision here and build this for you because this is what you actually need.
So how did you find Dallin? Because one of our partners, my partner Chase, is the polar opposite of me. I have no integrator skills whatsoever. I'd like to say I have no skills.
You got some skills.
I just think. Like is really my main job is think and lead people. And then he's the integrator and he's really good at all that stuff. So how did you find Dallin?
So it was again working on a funnel project. So I was just freelancing again while I was working at this company. And I think someone in our network connected us that I worked with before. And they said, hey, I need someone that can build out funnels. So like I went, we chatted, we started working on a couple of side projects together. And then we're like, I think we can build something really cool here. So we started trying to put together our own thing. And eventually it took off from there.
And so what's your guys' goal? Are you guys going to stay in the real estate niche? Do you think there's enough market cap for it? Right? Because it is a big market cap as far as whole realtors and wholesalers.
Mm-hmm.
But would you pick a different niche as you grow and you feel like you tapped it? Because you're nowhere near at the top of tapping it.
Yeah, no, there's way too much market share to even think about like tapping out on it. I think for us, just knowing like where we are in life right now, I think what we want to do is build a pretty valuable company that'll allow us to exit for a decent multiple that allows us to start either investing in more real estate projects now that we have the knowledge, the network, skill set to actually go out and do it and be successful, or take that and look at some alternative ways because we've gotten the network with other people that are investing in stuff. It's like you start getting all these opportunities. It's like the blessing and the curse of like business success is like you get thrown all these opportunities and you're like, I would love to, but I need to focus. And it's like we get to a point where it's like we both have those ideas of things that we want to do and we turn down so many things that it's like I think for us, we want to build a valuable enough company that allows us to exit for a solid amount of money. So we can start to go in and play in those different things and look at those different areas. But I think with our business right now, like there's just so much untapped growth. Like it's such a new company that like we probably have another 10, 15 years before that's a reality, unless a really good offer comes in between, now and then.
When did you guys start thinking exit? I didn't even think about it until we started the VA company because regular real estate doesn't ever talk about an exit.
No,
never talk about an exit.
So I always knew it was kind of in the back of my mind, like with when I worked at Infusionsoft and other software companies, like that's all they talk about is like IPOs and exits and stuff. So it was always there, but I knew that we didn't have the tangibles like business wise to make it enough of a multiple to exit. Like if we exited, a year ago when we were thinking about it, like we probably got 1.5x, what our revenues were, which is not very much. We want something, 3, 4, 5, 8x. And to do that, there's things that we need to build. And we know like at that point, the business was very dependent upon us. So it's like, we exit, but then we have to stay and train people in the business. And that's not really exciting for us. So we knew there was things that we needed to build, but honestly, we didn't really think about it too much or think about it too much until our CPA was looking at our numbers and like, you guys are like onto something here. You guys are making a good amount of money, and your margins are really good. And you're providing value, and you're actually getting results. Like, this is something that, he doesn't see often, working with a lot of online businesses and coaches and stuff like that. So him highlighting that to us was like, oh, maybe we do have something here, which is like nice and gratifying. But it's like, we know it's at a point right now where it's like, it's not enough of a return for us to sell it. And we like operating. Like, we're at the point now where like we've gotten things going, and it's fun to operate and solve the challenges. And it's nice to get away from the family every now and then to get out and work. So it's like, I like building, but I love my family, but I love just sitting down for 5 or 6 hours and just building stuff. Like, it's fun. So until it gets to a point where it's like, it's arduous. Like, I don't want to do it anymore. I don't think I'd be ready to exit. I've talked to people that have exited their business, and they've gotten to that point where it's like, I build, this machine, and now it's just a chore for me. It's like, it's not fun anymore. And when you get out of alignment like that, like, you start finding ways to sabotage the business. Exactly. Subconsciously, not intentionally, but your subconscious is like, I'm not happy here. I want to go do things. I want to go do this. And I don't want to, jeopardize, the stuff that we've built, or also impact the, employees we have and the impact that we're having if I get to that point. So I'd rather find someone to take over that is passionate about it, that wants to generate a return and keep it running. If I get to that point, but I'm not there yet. So
what are like the top 5 things you guys have to do in order to make it profitable enough to exit? Like, the things you have to put in place besides a team. Like, are there any like certain things to where like private equity comes in, like, oh yeah, no, that's really valuable?
I think the biggest thing for our type of business, like just in the vertical that we're in, is having some type of reoccurring revenue component. That's the biggest thing, because right now we're so sales dependent. Like, if we had a bad month of sales, like, because we have enough cash stashed away, like, it wouldn't impact us. But for an investor, that's not what they want to see. They want to see consistent returns over time. So building in the reoccurring component. Also too, I think another thing that we're working on building that would drastically increase our multiple is adding a SaaS piece to it. So with our service, like, we use a lot of software tools to fulfill our offer to clients, but bringing that in a way that we can create a software tool that's really sticky, that we're bringing in clients at a high amount, where they're sticking on the service for a long term. We have reoccurring coming off of those clients, plus we have a software tool attached to it. Like, for an investor, that type of return is super sexy to them, because they know it's something that has longevity. Especially, if all the numbers are there and the retention's there, and it's a good service that provides value. So I think adding those 2 pieces, which we're kind of in the works on it, like, I think that makes it better for an investor. And also too, for acquisitions pieces, like, if there's larger companies out there that want to add, what we do to their service, we have the tools, and now for fulfilling it through software, then it's less people dependent. And that's super sexy for investors, because if there's less people they have to manage, that means there's higher returns. It means they can squeeze the business different ways. If they have different ends with advertising, then they can ramp up advertising and bring in more customers and not really impact net revenues too much. That's thing that they look for.
Everybody take note of that, especially as you transition different businesses. Gene said he'd be interested in buying if you guys are generating that many leads.
Send me a number. Send me a number.
So how are you going to build in that reoccurring model? I didn't even think about creating a software until a couple of weeks ago when I was listening to a podcast. And he was like, bro, if you can get a software that's sticky enough and they never leave, that person's worth millions and millions of dollars.
Yeah.
So that's why you can sell it for such a high multiple.
Yeah, exactly. If it's something like, if you think about other software tools that you use every single day, like, how long are you going to keep using those if it's providing value to you and it's not a very high impact? Like, especially if it's business driven, like, this is part of your livelihood. This is how you make your money. Like, your chances of canceling that service are pretty low. And for investors, that are going to, give you millions of dollars, like, they want to know that they're not risk averse, but they want to know that they can minimize their risk because they have something that's super sticky. Like, if your churn rate is stupid high, like, no one wants to touch that, because they're losing money over time. So I think for us is figuring out what SaaS component makes the most sense. There's a lot of things that we do, but it's like, what's something that if we build, one, we can grow pretty organically at first without a ton of advertising, because then we know we have something that is providing value, but also is like such a key component of people's life that like they're never going to cancel it. Like it's a tool that they need. It's part of their livelihood. So we're still testing out a couple of things, and we're trying out things to see what that is. And we'll get there eventually. Like I'm not in a rush to do it. Like I said, we like operating the way we are right now. But once we get there, I think that's what's going to drastically help us.
I love it. What type of team? What does your team look like? Do you have an office? Is it all virtual?
Yeah, so we have an office. We have a couple people virtual. So we have client success here in the office. We have me and Dallin. Sales, appointment setting is here in the office, and then also we have a developer that's here in the Valley, but he works remotely, so he does all of our development stuff. And then we have VA down in Mexico and a VA in the Philippines. And I don't really call them VAs, like they're our employees. Like that's just the term given to like that space. But they're integrators inside of our business. Like there's some things that we wouldn't be able to do without them, and it would pain me to have to replace them. Like that's how much they know in our business, and I love it. Like they work harder than me, which is awesome.
Oh yeah, I mean we have a decent amount of employees in our like staffing call center company, and they're all employees, not VAs. And like if one of them leaves, it hurts, right? Right. That if that person leaves and they're handling a crucial job in what we do, it sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, and that like I like that culture like built in the team, because I want everyone on our team bought in, because like we're like the impact that we're having with our clients is drastic. Like we've been able to help people like completely transform the course of their life, and that's like, for me, that was such a big thing. Like when I was freelancing, like the guy that helped me, when I got let go from my job and started freelancing stuff, like his mentorship and his direction, like literally altered the course of my life. Like I tell him this all the time, like whenever we chat, like that impact that he had on me is what I want to have on our clients. And we have the ability to do that, but I need all of our employees to have that same confidence, but also that same understanding of like, this is what we do and we do it really well. Because when everyone's working like that, like the net impact of just me operating the business is marginal. Like I make a pretty good impact, but the net impact of having 10 employees all working on the same thing, helping our clients achieve, that's how we get better returns in anyone in our market. So if I see, a copycat trying to, develop something similar to us, like I'm not worried about it at all, because they're not going to be like, if they're doing it themselves, they're not going to be 10 employees that are doing it, or 10 people on our team, because we're just so bought in on that like it just gives us that, I call it a moat around the business. Like you can try, but you're not going to beat us.
Exactly. Gene says, love to connect tomorrow. Strat, you the motherfucking man. Thanks, Gene. I didn't want to put your number out there like that. If you want your number like that, let me know. I'll post it.
Yeah, I'll message you, Gene. I see you all the time, dude. You're like the king of Facebook organic, dude. You got the
bro. I thought I did it. I thought I killed it with our Facebook organic for Call Magicians. I really did. Gene has blown his shit up.
Dude, it's crazy. Like it's like number 1 or 2 things I see on my newsfeed all the time is Gene. That's awesome.
One of my students, right? He's pushing back. I was like, bro, if you want to grow your business, just post on Facebook every day and go live.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the number one way. Like it's free, you can go on there, talk about your problems, and you can generate so much revenue.
100%. Like I started our current company all on Facebook. Like that's how I did it. Like I got into groups and I started essentially just adding people that were in these groups and started posting value in my newsfeed, and then started getting interactions and started DMing people and started commenting. And that's like literally how I got our first few customers, was all of Facebook organic.
Well, that's insane. Are you invested in crypto at all? I'm going down a crypto tunnel right now because I think
I mean, crypto's been pretty consuming. Yeah, I'm in crypto. Like I try with any investments to figure out, like I want to get a baseline of understanding, and then I want to figure out like, okay, what's the best way for me to invest in this but not take away my time from the business? Because no matter how you look at it, like, and I'm a super numbers guy, like spreadsheets and all the time, like no matter how you look at it, the money that I keep in the business or reinvest in the business is giving me the best ROI. Like there's no way to beat it. So it's like when I look at investments like crypto or, into real estate, it's like, yes, I would love to, but I would much rather put it back into the business, because I know
I'll push back on that.
Yes,
Number
I know
one,
you will.
our business is not going to give us a fucking 4,000x return, not a 4,000%, 4,000x return. And we need to be able to get used to pulling money out of it. So at least like it's when we go to sell it, it sees that it's someone is taking a profit from it. These are the true margins that we're operating at. That's how I feel. And that's what, because I felt the same way. I was like, bro, I just need to keep reinvesting. Then you don't pay yourself and it keeps on rolling. And then something happens with some law, it all blows up, blah, blah, blah. Or you don't buy Shiba Inu for $1,000 a month ago.
Shiba, man. Yeah. So on the crypto side, like I 100% agree with you. Like that's a mental hurdle that I had to get over, because like as you're new to business, like you start making money and then you start getting like protective over it. You're like, I don't want to use this. You want to hold on to it. So that was a mental hurdle that I'm still like, I was still working through. Like, okay, I can take money out of the business and put it in other places. So like things that I do now is like, I want to maximize the time that I spend on these things, but I don't want to take my entrepreneur mindset into investments, because like you probably see Homeowner talk about this all the time. Like the people that are the best at investing are dead people, because they just put money into stocks, or they put money into investment vehicles. They get 8, 9, 10, 12% a year, and they just leave it. So like I try to think about the same thing with crypto. It's like I could actively trade crypto. I could actively get into NFTs and do that, but it's so time consuming. So I would much rather, in my case, like I take, some of the profits and I'll take, put them into whole life, and then, build that up for me, for the kids, for the wife, whole life plans for everyone. And then I'll just take crypto and I'll yield farm, or I'll take crypto, I'll, take the interest off of it and invest in other things. So I think my philosophy on is like, I'd rather just take crypto and just yield farm off of it and get 20% and beat inflation, and then dump that back into something more stable and do it that way. So.
I was watching the video because I didn't get yield farming. I feel like yield farming is too time intensive if you would just go stake with something and leave it there. Like,
so I don't actively yield farm. Like I don't have to do all the manual stuff. Like I find basically the auto pools. So obviously like they charge you 1% for it or something, in most cases. But I'll play with different ones. Like I have some that are pretty stable, but I usually look at 5 or 6 a month, and I'm like, okay, what are the returns on this yield? Like what do I have to do to actually get into it? Because some of them you have to bridge them over into different things outside of ETH. So like for the longest, there was one called Polycrystal that I was yield farm, and it was like, something crazy, like 160%, 168%, returns on it. But it was super fluctuating. So it's I would invest in those, but a smaller percentage. And then I would have more stable ones that are like 20, 25%. So I would do those and then take the profits out, or reinvest back into them, or take profits out and buy, a meme coin, or buy, a super small cap stock that was supposed to 10x or 5x. Because at that point, I've already made my money back on the yield farming. So like anything extra that I'm playing with is like, I can lose it. I don't care. And that's the philosophy that I like to have with investments, because then I get too like lizard brained on it. Like, oh, I can't lose this. Like I have to keep this money. Like if I can just take the profits out and just go test stuff with it, then I'm more likely to find those outsized returns, because I'm not like obsessively checking it every hour. Like, okay, where's it at? Where's it at? Where's it at? Like I just want to do it, let it do its thing, and then focus back on the business. And if I wake up one morning and I made 10x, cool, I'll sell it, take the profits, and do it again.
Have you heard of Olympus DAO?
I haven't, no.
Bro, look it up. The returns are insane.
I'll have to check it out. And that's Olympus, the crazy part about it is like so much of it is word of mouth. Like I'm in so many Facebook groups, and it's like there's so many things that you would never find advertised, but being in the network and communicating with people, like Twitter is the best for this. Like getting in groups and like DMing people and talking to people that are actively in crypto all day long. Like there's those little things that you're like, dude, I would have never found it. But like those are the things
that are insane. Like it's in the 1,000x of a percent to where they're doing some shit. It's insane. Like I don't even know how it's possible to now. I'm fighting the urge to where just make all the money, just put it in crypto, and then keep going and damn near become a crypto person, because all I gotta do is push a button. No employee.
Push a button.
No bullshit. It still goes up, right? Like it's very, very enticing.
Yeah, I have those feelings like once a week after I have team meetings. I'm like, oh man, I should just go buy some NFTs and retire. But then it wouldn't be as fun. Like I was telling Dallin the other day, my wife, she does like wedding decorations or wedding decorating with the lady that lives in our neighborhood. So they go out and it's like an all day thing. They start at 7, they decorate, set up for the wedding, then they come back, do pictures, they do sparklers and all that stuff. But she's gone all day. So it's just me at home with 4 kids, honey-do list forever long. And like by 2:30, I'm gassed. I'm like, I could not be a stay-at-home dad. Like, I don't know what I would do if I retired. Like people always talk about like, what would you do if you retired? I'm like, I don't know what I would do. I feel like I would be bored and start another business. Like I play, I can go play basketball. I can go golf. I can go do something. But like for 3 or 4 hours, like that doesn't take up the whole day. Like I would be the worst. I'd be like on the PTO board at my kid's school. I'd be volunteering everything just because I'm so bored.
Well, bro, a lot of dudes who exit kill themselves. Like dudes who exit for serious multiples kill themselves because they have no more purpose.
Yeah, it's like, what are you supposed to do? Like I that's why I like operating, because it's like it gives me something to do. Like there's a problem to solve. Like everyone wants to try and eliminate all their problems, but like you have to have those problems. Like I can't remember who told me, but someone told me it was like it's the story of the Barracuda, where there was a fishing truck essentially it was a big truck that took live fish to a restaurant, and they were losing like 40 or 50 or it's like some high number, like 60% of their fish, and they were trying to figure out like why all the fish kept dying. And they did a study with marine biologists. They tested all the water and stuff, and they were like, why don't we just put a barracuda in there? And they found out like barracuda ate like 15% of the fish, but the fish stayed alive because now they had a purpose to stay alive. They had to stay away from the barracuda. They didn't have to get eaten. So like the whole moral of the story is like when you don't have a purpose, like it's just easy for you to kill over and die. But if you have a purpose, running away from the barracuda, like you're gonna stay alive. So I try to keep that in the back of my mind, like whenever I like have those feelings or emotions where I'm like, I just want to sit on the beach all day and like do nothing. It's like, nope, got to keep the barracuda. Got to keep the problem. Got to keep the barracuda. Yeah.
But what is your plans? How are you going to replace you? Because I was sitting here thinking about this in one of our companies. Like, bro, there's no way we could replace our integrator. Like it is I think it's harder than replacing. Well, it's just as hard as replacing a visionary, right?
Yeah.
To find someone to really step in and lead in that way, it's hard to find an amazing operator who can actually hang and not get bogged down.
Yeah, so I think for me is downloading as much as I can of my knowledge and skill set into processes. Like obviously I know like that'll help whoever steps into my role be able to delegate some of those things that I do pretty well. Because I know like for me, one of the challenges as an integrator that I have, like still a barrier that I'm still working through, is like in the back of my mind, I know no one can do it as well as I can. Like if there's a problem that can be solved, like I can go and fix it and it'll take me half the time. But you got to get over it. And it's the only way to grow. Like we were capped revenue wise for so long because I was doing everything. And as soon as I hired someone to take like 2 or 3% of that stuff off my plate, like revenue went up. And then I hired someone to do client success. So I wasn't taking all of the Zoom calls all day long. And then revenue went up again. So it's like, I have to be better in order to replace me. I have to be better at documenting what those processes are, because maybe I'm doing 6 or 7 different roles. And as integrators, what I have to realize is like, I don't need to be doing all those things. There's someone that is better at running the numbers than me. There's someone that's better at doing all these things than me. I just need to find those people and pay them essentially. I know that over time, like, yes, I'll make less, profit at the end of the day, but it'll help the company grow and eventually allow me to start backing out of the business a little bit more so we can get closer to our end goal, which is, building a process-driven business that is exitable. And right now, like I said, if someone were to buy our company, like I would have to stay on and continue working. Like I wouldn't be able to walk away from it because it's so still me dependent.
Mm-hmm. Well, and like one thing people get hung up on when they're hiring people, yes, you're going to make less money, but only for a little bit, right? Because that person's going to help you scale up, and then you'll take just pie out of a bigger pie, right? So now you're taking, let's say now instead of operating at 50, you're operating at 40, but at 40%, you're doing $30 million in revenue. At 50%, you were doing 10, right? But you made a couple hires.
Yeah. And all of it, like the more and more like I start to operate in a different space, because like when you first start a business, like you're super scarcity driven. It's like worrying about the next dollar, worrying about the next sale, solving all the problems to get the business going. But once you start to get things where it's like fairly consistent, like I know like next month we're not going to go out of business, or the month after that, a month after that. It starts to become more about your mindset as an owner and solving those internal problems because they reflect in the business. Like it's the people call it the mirror all the time. It's like whatever issues you're facing those in the business. So for me, the longest as an integrator is like I just wanted to sit and build. So communication was an issue. Like I didn't tell people stuff because I was so busy building things. So now I have to like stop myself and like over communicate it. Like, okay, here's what's going on. Here's what I'm building. Here's what this is going to help. And that's helped everyone on the team get on the same page because now they know like, okay, here's what's coming. Here's, this problem's getting solved or it's been solved. So working through those systematically in the heart, like the best thing that I found, and a lot of people don't talk about this, but is going to therapy, like going to a therapist that like helps you work through those problems, both on the personal side and on the business side, because there's like, I learned it from golfing. Like you can't, as much as you want to with golf, like you can't correct your own golf swing. Everyone wants to be their own golf coach. But even if you're recording it, like there's things that you don't know that you should be doing. And there's no way that you would ever know because you don't have the experience or skill set to do it. And same thing with our minds. Like we've grown up with these biases and tendencies, and we don't understand that they're problems. But if we sit down with someone for an hour a week and they like, maybe you're a little bit crazy there. Like there's something you should work on. Like it gives you a reflection to be able to like, oh, okay, that's what the problem is. And then they actually help you work through solving it. Like that is game changer because like, growing up as a Black man, like none, like your dad's not going to talk about it. Like, no, everyone tells you like, don't cry, be hard. Like you're supposed to be the man. Like no one talks about therapy. Like it's a big thing, but it's like, it was so taboo. Like it took me forever to go to it. And like when I finally did, I was like, why didn't I go to this sooner? Like I needed this in my 20s. Like this would have been game. I would have solved so many problems. Like so many things that I ran into would have been alleviated if I would have just went to therapy. Like even if it was just once a year, like drastic difference for me.
Bro, just unpacking all that shit. So when I do mushrooms, that's what helps. Like, so yeah. I'm open about that, right? To where I do psychedelics and it helps me unpack all of the nonsense that's going on, overcome all those stupid mental barriers. And then mentors. I talk about it all the time. I'm on the phone with one of my mentors. It's like, bro, you're a fucking psychopath. Like, chill. Don't think about it that way. Do this. Think better. But then like you take another step forward. Revenue goes up. You make more money. It's crazy.
It is because like being able to have that perspective where you look at things differently, like, and I think that's why psychedelics are becoming more, I guess, less taboo, is because it allows you to create that different perspective and look at things differently. Whereas like, because you're so rooted into those, things that you're running into every single day, like I call them biases, like because you're so ingrained with those biases, it's hard for you to see a different viewpoint. Like when you're having a debate with someone, like I grew up, like I was always on a debate team. I love talking. I love like arguing. Like that's my personality type. Like whenever I take personality profiles, I'm always a debater because I love having good conversations. But like whenever someone disagrees with you or brings up an ulterior point, like in your body, you can feel it. You're like, no, they're wrong. And you're like, well, let me explore why they're wrong. And like, that's just maturity. Like you like growing up, and a lot of people don't ever get to that point, which is sad. Like they don't ever hear a different perspective, or they don't hear someone tell them that they're wrong and give them their perspective and like, okay, well, maybe I'm wrong in this case. And that's why I think like things like therapy or psychedelics or anything that allows you to get that other perspective allows you to start to break that mental model and actually adjust it and change it in a way that's better and more beneficial.
I love it. Micah says he needs more deals. If you need more deals, spend more money on marketing. That is my only advice.
100%.
Spend more money on marketing and then become a better salesman.
Yeah.
I think nobody...
That's the biggest struggle that we see right now with all of our clients.
Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, I was saying that's the biggest issue I see with our clients is salesmanship. Like everyone wants to believe that they're really good at sales. And like some people are really good at it, but it's the framework you're using, but it's also reps and sets. And also like, again, going back to sports, like if you're doing the workout the wrong way, you're not going to get the same benefits. Mm-hmm. So like if you have the wrong framework, so that's why it's super important for people to have a trainer or at least a framework or a process or a script or something that they're using when they're selling, Because if you're operating the sales call the wrong way, like you're not going to get the results. If you're doing the bicep curls the wrong way, you're not going to get the biceps.
The results you want.
So I think that's a huge issue right now, especially in the market that we're in right now. I wouldn't say that it's harder, but I would say there's different challenges for people to solve. And because they're not operating from a good framework, it's getting harder for people to close deals.
Right. If you guys need help closing, I think Steve is the best one. I like the Sandler method. Yep. Honestly, I like Sandler as far as like all the other sales methods. I'm not a Grant Cardone guy where I'm going to molest someone's phone for 300 days until they finally decide to sell to me. If you guys are in real estate, I'd hit up Steve Trang.
Yeah. Yes. Steve's sales training is the best. It's for me because it's logic based. Like it's easy to see the framework and the process. But for me, like with selling, like I like frameworks more so than a specific script, because I like to I'm processing so many things when I'm on a call. Like other people may be different, but for me, I like a framework because if I like for us, we use Alex Hormozi's closer framework. Like it's like CLOSER. So like I just know that as I'm going through the call, I need to hit all those different points. I need to figure out like what it is, like what their problem is. I need to look back at like what other situations they have, what have they tried. I need to be able to sell the vacation, so on and so forth. Like go through that framework. I know if I'm hitting all those points through the call, then I'm moving it in the right direction, that I'm actually giving myself an opportunity at closing it. But if I don't have a framework or a process I'm walking through, it's easy to get lost. Like they always talk about the studies of people like they send to a forest and they don't send, like it's dark, they don't have a map. They end up just walking in circles. People do that on their sales calls all the time. They just end up talking in circles because they don't have a map or a framework that they're walking through, and they lose out on a lot of deals.
Out on a ton of deals. And nobody talks about developing more skills in the real estate space. Like none of the real estate gurus talk about it. And I think it's the number one thing. Fucking Alex Hormozi is the one who like really made me see the light. He's like, bro, you just got to develop new skill sets every day. Yeah, that's what's going to help you make more money. So yes, I can tell you, Micah, spend more money on marketing, but in all reality, you're going to spend more money on marketing. They're going to get better as a salesman. They're going to get better as a leader, right? Like it's a progression of those things. I tell you the most, for me, I think if you want to be a billionaire, you need to be the best leader in the world and a really good marketer. Yeah. All Google did was they hired all the smartest people in the Silicon Valley, and it worked.
Yeah.
But they could lead them all, and they were really good leaders. They got everybody bought in, right? But that's kind of the framework you need to follow, because we have the best talent. You'll always win as long as you have a good culture.
Yeah, 100%. Like leading people is a tough thing for an operator. It's tough because like you always like I said in the back of my mind, like I can do it better. But like being able to step aside and let other people make mistakes and work through those challenges and solve them is again a hurdle that I had to get over. But I think it's not just me that has it. Like I think there's a lot of people that have to work through that process of leading people. And also too, like on the developing skills, I think for me, looking back, hindsight's 2020, like all the jobs that I had and all the freelance gigs that I did helped me build the skill set to build the company that we have now. But going through it, like I didn't have that mindset. If someone were to tell me that as I was going through it, I think I would have more actively, procured skills as quickly as I could and paid people to accelerate my learning process on those skills versus, again, walking in circles, like repeating the same task over and over and not improving it or not knowing what skills I needed to get to have the business that I wanted.
Bro, fucking awesome. So what's the best book someone can read to get better at marketing?
Best book someone can read to get better at marketing. I like Oligarchy on Advertising. It's an old ad book because the premises of marketing are based around copy. Like if you can write better copy and you can understand the customer and look at old copywriters, that's probably I would say the best one is going to be Breakthrough on Advertising, Eugene Schwartz, because that one actually has frameworks of how to build copy, how to run promotions, how to do offers, and the basics of marketing. It's like out of print now. There's only I think there's one guy that's selling it for like a stupid amount of money for a book, but it's a really good book.
So where else could I find it?
I think you can only buy it through him. He bought the rights to it. Yeah, it's a really good book though. It's like it should be like the marketing textbook for every college. Like that's how good it is.
And this is Breakthrough on Advertising?
Yeah, Eugene Schwartz.
Eugene Schwartz. And where can people find out more about your company and find out more about you?
You can follow me on Instagram, Xavier_Major. About the company, we're Wholesale Connection, so thewholesaleconnection.com. We help investors scale business, building systems, operations, putting VAs in place to help you buy your time back and close more deals. So you reach out, we'll jump on call with you and actually audit your business, which a lot of people don't do. Like, I'll look at what software tools you're using and what marketing you're running and actually give you some feedback, like even if you don't work with us. But that's the best two places to find me and more about what we do.
And then how did you get that big guru job? How did you guys land that? I was so happy for you when you told me about that.
Networking, actually, like networking too, but also like actually demonstrating the value we offer. So like we built out a system for them in exchange for an office, essentially, like, which for us is like doesn't make us a lot of money. Like, we can just pay for the office, but demonstrating the value and showing them exactly what it is that we could do. And then them actually using it, getting value from it, gave us the opportunity to have that meeting, essentially. So,
yeah, and congrats again, by the way.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. You guys all have a great day. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of the Winning Move Podcast. I hope it helps you make all the right moves in your life and business. Please make sure to go like and subscribe on any podcast platform that you're listening to. And make sure to go follow me on Instagram at StratDaddy. Thank you guys so much. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for coming on, bro.
Yeah, man.
Congrats. I mean, that's all I got, bro. I got to go on another fucking walk, put out some fires.
Yeah, same here. Email inbox is filling up.
Wow, yeah, bro. I will talk to you soon, bro. Thank you so much.